Right, if you've got a kit, listen very carefully, okay? You have got 2 thicknesses of chipboard in your kit. Hi, Rosina. Oh, that's lovely. Lorraine. Cards can make such a difference to people. Right, yes, you've got in your kit. Hi, Renee. You have got 2 thicknesses of card, and you will see that one is marginally thinner than the other 5, okay? This is really important for you to know, that you've got one that is thinner, okay? So you need to check that out, because it's only a little bit thinner. Actually, it's 0.5 of a, no, it's half a millimetre thinner than the other. So you can't tell that much, but it is quite obvious when you start flapping it about that it is thinner. So you need to keep that to one side, because what I've done, we're going to start on our box tonight. What I've done is I've actually drawn out the pieces onto the card before I start cutting them, so that I'm getting the best use out of my grey board. I have taken photos of this so I can pop it in the group when we're done. So if you're not cutting and working with me tonight, you can use my drawings as a guide. Hi, Celeste. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So what I want to do tonight is to start looking at the box. Okay, so here's my box, right? It's made out of grey board, and it is put together with strips of black card. However, I will tell you now that there is a far easier way to put a box together, and that is to use probably not hair encrusted, but this stuff, which is called construction tape, okay? And this is a much quicker and easier way to put it together, but it's not the cheapest tape in the world, hence why we're looking at why we're using paper connectors, card connectors to put ours together, because I just wanted to show you a quicker, well, not quicker, a cheaper way to do it, because if I start putting one of these into every kit, it is going to be very expensive. I will say we will start stocking this very soon in the scrap lab as soon as I put an order in, because it's really great stuff. It sticks too, so it's the brand that I like anyway. Yeah, it's called construction tape, and it makes all the difference. It's so quick and easy when you put a box together, but it's not the cheapest item in the world.
So which is a finish?
If you wibble it, you can tell. Okay, so you've got one that is definitely thinner, and if you wibble it, the deeper ones are, I don't know. There's definitely one that's thinner in there. And it's just, there should be 6 pieces, Karen. 5 slightly thicker and 1 slightly thinner.
Put in shots so you can see.
So, well, you won't. I don't even think you'll see on the screen.
I think you will.
So that is the 1500 microns. This is 1500 microns. This is 1.5 millimeters wide, and this is 1000 microns,
Karen,
which
10.
is what, pieces of grey board? Karen, you as I recall, didn't you order some grey board as well as a kit? So maybe that's why. Yeah, you'll have to. So you might have 3 packs of grey board. One of them will have a thinner piece in. It'll have 6 pieces in, not 5. Yes, no, what? Now I'm confused.
One word.
I don't know. You can use the thicker chipboard for what we're going to do. If you can't find it, you can still use the thicker chipboard for what we were going to use the thin one for. Right, so what I've done is I've drawn on the board here the quickest, well, the best, most effective way to get the bits out of the box that we need. So what we've got here is we've got our box, okay? It is, I can't remember how tall it is.
It says yes, she has 10 now, we didn't order extra.
Oh, that's just bizarre. I don't know why that is. Grey board. I don't know. I'll have a word with you afterwards. I'm really not sure why that would be. That's very weird. Right, okay, so this is what, 11 and a bit. 11 and, I can't see. 11 and a quarter inches in height by 7 3/4 inches in width, okay? This is 7 1/2. I don't know what's up with my measuring today. That definitely was 7 3/4. Oh, it is 7 3/4. No, I can't see. It's 7 3/4. But it's 7 1/2 down there. No, it's not. It's 7 3/4. Oh, I don't know. Well, anyway, so the box is in two parts. So you've got the lid and you've got the actual box bit. Now, because I wanted it to be flush so that everything sits on together like that. That's okay, but you can't get the lid to just sit on as it is. It's just going to fall off, isn't it? So what I've done is I've used the thinner chipboard to add sort of like a, you'll have to excuse this because it's all come to bits because I didn't do it very well, but this has got like this lip here that goes inside, hang on, that goes inside the box here. So that's how our box lid fits onto our box, okay? Like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out the bits of the box. So I don't think we're going to finish it tonight, but we're going to get started. But we'll cut out all of the bits first. So here's how I did it. This is an A4 piece of chipboard. So that's 11 3/4 by 8 1/4 inches. And what I've done here is I've drawn the box front, which is 7 3/4 by 7 inches, and one of the box sides, which is 7 by 4 inches. So the height of the bottom of the box is 7 inches. The width is 7 3/4. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading. I'm confused.
What?
Just by, never mind. All right, so this bit, 7 3/4 by 7 inches, okay, and this is going to be the box front, so I'll cut that out first. So when you're cutting chipboard, I always say the best way to do it, if you're using a knife, is to do short, thinner strokes as opposed to, you know, then putting your knife down really, really hard, because you're just going to end up with sore wrists and hands that way. So I'm going to do a couple of lighter passes until I've got rid of that chipboard. Now I use offcuts of chipboard instead of foam pads, so you might find that that's another use for it, so I don't tend to throw them away. So that's the front of my box, okay, so that is 7 3/4 by 7 inches, and that is going to fit on there, okay, so that's that bit. This other bit that I put on that same sheet is 7 by 4 inches, and this is the side. So, I'll turn that round before Mark starts shouting at me. So that is going to attach on there like that, okay? So 4 inches is the width of the box and 7 inches is the height. And this is the bottom bit of the box that we're doing at the moment, okay? So because we need 2 pieces of each of those, our second page is in exactly the same way. So I've got the box back and another box side there. So I'm going to cut those out now. So the box back is exactly the same size as the box front. It's 7 3/4 by 7 inches. And then the side is 7 by 4 inches. Okay, so that's the front and the back and the 2 sides. On my next bit, what I've done is the bottom of the box, because obviously we need to have a bottom. And then we've got the top, which is the top of the lid. And these are both exactly the same size. And these are 7 3/4 by 4 inches. So they're both the same. I did find it, when I made it originally, I did find it really useful to actually write on, you know, the grey board, what bit I was, what bit was which. It made it a lot easier to put together. And you're never going to see it, so it really doesn't matter. Okay? So this is going to be the top and the bottom of the box. Okay, and they are 7 3/4 by 4 inches. Okay, so now we're looking at the box lid, and we're going to cut the box lid front and back, and these are both 7 3/4 by 4 inches. And like I said, I have taken photographs of these, you know, when I drew on them, and I will pop those in the group afterwards. So if you know, if you aren't working along with me, and you want to know how I used my grey board to the best sort of advantage, then you can do that. Okay, so the last thing that we need to cut out of the slightly thicker grey board are the box sides, which are a straight 4 by 4 inches. Well, I hope you can measure a whole lot straighter than I evidently can. What sort of surprise dessert, Mary? You're talking my language now.
Something with custard out.
Ooh, yeah. What did you have? Okay. Now, this is the thinner board. And these are the bits that are going to go on the inside of the bottom of the box to make sure that the top bit fits on, okay, and doesn't slip off. So we've got 2 pieces at 2 inches by 7 3/4 inches. Okay, so 2 of those. And then we've got the side pieces, and they are 2 by 4 inches. So nice, easy measurement for the last one. You've got enough to make a little notebook or an accordion book there. Right, so I'll just take these ends off. Right, now, what I haven't put on the cutting guide, because it's just, well, I didn't think about it at the time, was about how we actually attach these bits together. I'll get rid of that now. And we're going to use our offcuts. So when we made our books, you will have had loads and loads and loads of offcuts of black card or whatever. They're in, you know, and I've kept them. So anything over 2 inches, basically I want you to cut it down now. It doesn't matter on the length so much, but I need it to be about 2 inches across. Okay, so I'm just going to take bits of card that I've got here. See what's 2 inches. Got any more? There should be loads really. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that these are all 2 inches wide. I think they are. Yeah, so they should all be 2 inches. But I'm going to need a few more of those. So I didn't make all my books up. So I'm going to have to cut some of my card down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. Just to make a whole load of these connectors. Now, if you've ever made my 12 by 12 folio, you will have made these connectors before. They're very, very easy and simple. The only problem that I have with them is using them so they don't keep overlapping. I'm just going to cut another sheet, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these now is, oh, just knocked something off. I don't know what that was. I'm going to score them so that I can fold them all in half. So if I grab my scoreboard, I'm going to score on the 2 inch side at 1 inch, all the way down like that on each of these. I don't know how many I've got here, probably about 10, maybe a dozen. We might well need a few more. I've just done a few to start with, but I've used a lot of my offcuts. Because bizarrely it all works out right, size-wise.
Is there a brand name for the construction type?
This is Sticks 2. I will have some in the next week or so. In the shop, and it comes in black and white. But what I might well do is make up another box and use the construction tape so that you can see the difference. I mean, it's great stuff, it's just not cheap. Well, I don't think you're going to be that happy if I start adding, you know, 10 quid or so to the cost of what was already one of the bigger kits. But it is good stuff. And if you're going to make boxes on a regular basis, I would thoroughly recommend it. Okay, so you see, it's all about the preparation.
David says hi.
Oh, hi David.
And Alison says you could make it an optional add-on.
I could indeed, actually. That's not a bad idea. I think we might well look at doing that in future. Because actually, while we're here and we're having a bit of a chat, I can talk to you about add-ons, things that have crossed my mind that would be nice to include in kits, but I don't know how much interest there would be. So for instance, dies. Okay, let me show you one. I don't know if you've ever come across a British company before called the Thirsty Brush Company. I know I've mentioned them a few times because Kerry, who's DT for the Scrap Lab, also DTs for the Thirsty Brush. And they're a British-based company, and it's owned by a lady called Claire, and Claire is absolutely amazing. She's actually a watercolour artist by trade, but she does the most beautiful stamps and all sorts of different things. But I couldn't resist this. And it is a die that has got, you know, paper edging things. And to say that I love it is the understatement of the century. And I can see 1,000,001 ways that we could use dies like this in books. I don't want to make books with dies. That's not what I do. There's plenty of other wonderful, people out there who do that sort of thing. However, from time to time, I think there are dies that would make a really nice addition to, to a book. So I'm thinking, it's just a length of A4, which is 11 3/4 inches, Jane. But we'll cut them down. They're going to be all sorts of, lengths. And I'm just going to fold them in half, and I'm just going to burnish them. So things like dies, things like stamps, for instance, just little add-ons. I'd love to make, I mean, because I've said this before, and this book, this recipe book, is a prime example. I don't really like using stuff on a book that I'm not supplying in a kit. I did in this book because of the lettering that I used, and it just makes me uncomfortable. If it's not in your kit, I don't think I should be using it. I just try and find, things that, ways around it. If I'm always trying to find a way that's maybe the more cost-effective way of doing things, if that makes sense. But sometimes it's really hard, because there's stuff that I really want to use, but I'm thinking, well, that's not going to suit everybody. If it's a die, they might not have, a big shot or a die cutter or, whatever that is. So, yeah, would that be something that you would like? So if I, say, decorated a book up and I used something like those Thirsty Brush dies, that you had the opportunity to purchase them as well as, the ordinary kit, if that was something that you wanted? Or is that something that's going to upset you in that, well, you haven't got a die cutting machine, or it's just going to make it too expensive, and you're going to feel that you've missed out? Because that really worries the heck out of me, to be honest with you. So yeah, let me know what you think. I just don't like using stuff in kits that isn't part of the kit. So yeah, just a thought. Right, so I'm just folding these all in half now. Okay. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start with the bottom of the book. So this is why I like to name everything. Alison, is lid 3 of 7? Yes, it is. No, that's absolutely right. And I'll tell you for why. Hold on, let me take it apart. Because, and I had to keep measuring this because sight is so deceptive. That piece that piece and that piece are actually all exactly the same size. I know, it's just confusing, isn't it? Because they don't look it, but they are. So you're absolutely right, Alison. Okay, so let's start with the bottom. So I'm going to want the two backs, the two sides, and I'm going to want the bottom, which isn't that piece. See, this is why I write on them what they are, because it makes it so much easier. Okay. Right, now.
What were the dies called you use for the books? That for your book?
Oh, these? What, the letters dies?
The letters, yeah.
Oh, God, I can't remember. It's by a company called Alton New. But you can't get them anymore. This is the trouble. You just can't get them. And to be honest with you, they're a tiny, tiny big for the width. But Thickers do some beautiful stick-on letters that will be just fine. So, I mean, I've covered this now, but we've got to make this. I mean, I wish I could do like touch vision, because this is incredibly strong. It's as solid as a rock, and that's because it's got the connectors on the outside and the inside. This is a book that isn't coming apart, okay? But what I want to do is I want to start looking at how we put this bit, which is the thin bit, onto here. So to keep it looking nice and pretty, what I've done is I've just covered it in black paper. So we've got the insert bits as well. And what's going to happen with these is that these are going to fit behind there up to 1 inch. Okay, we're going to glue them on. So we're going to cover this bit first, and then that bit, and then we're gonna stick that on so that when the whole thing goes together, our lid will fit on. Is that making sense? Okay, right, so let's start with those, which I've lost a bit. Right, we've got all of our connectors. So the first thing that I want to do with our connectors is to make it look tidy. So we're going to do our inserts, but we need to make sure that this is tidy here before we stick those on, because once we've stuck that on, it's too late to do that bit. Okay, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our connector, and we're going to basically put our box front and back in like that, so inside the connector, and we're going to fold that over so that what that gives us there is our nice clean corner, you know, edges. Okay, and that's how that's going to work. So I'm going to grab some glue, and I'm going to put that like that. This is my box front. It doesn't matter whether you start with the front or the back. And I'm going to slip that up to where that fold is, and I'm just going to attach those like that. Now I want to put this round the corner. No, I don't. No, I don't. So I'm just going to attach that like that, and then when it's dry, I'm just trying to think how I made this. I've forgotten already. I was looking at this afternoon. I want some scissors, and I'm just going to trim off these edges here. Oh, now the cats are moaning.
It's master.
Are we going to get a visitation?
She's sniffing about.
Okay, so that is going to be the top. That is this bit here. Okay? And we're going to do exactly the same with the back. And then we're going to do the same with the sides. Okay, so there's some glue on like that. I should have just done this at the end. I don't know what I'm thinking tonight. It's been a bit of a rough day.
And he says Axel just dropped by, just say hello. Oh, thank you.
Oh, hi Axel. I loved your video this morning. It was absolutely brilliant. Cheered me up no end.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I have to show you. Axel got he did his unboxing video.
Oh, did you?
He did, and it was brilliant. And he's got the right idea about the value of craft supplies. But yeah, it's been a difficult day today because there was some mess ups over Ruby and Loki's treatment. Well, not the treatment really. It wasn't, was it? No, not the treatment. It was periphery stuff. And I wasn't happy at the time, and I told them. And I told them I was making a formal complaint, which I would have done eventually. I just hadn't got round to it. I was just too upset. And an independent vet rung me up today to talk about it. So it's been a bit of a bad day, really. Anyway, right, now I'm going to do this one properly. And these are my box sides, okay? And I'm just going to do exactly the same with them. So glue, probably not as much as I've put on here. Oh, by the way, Axel, if you're still here, I want to see what you're making tomorrow. Right. You know what, if I'd measured this in the first place, it just would have been so much simpler. I don't know why I make life so difficult for myself. I really don't. Yeah, if you're doing this, if you're following on tomorrow and making this, it might be easier if you just cut these to 4 inches, because it just would. Oh, there's a cat under my feet. Who's this? Martha.
Master.
Yeah.
She's a bit.
She is. Okay, so those are beautifully tidy now, even though I do say so myself. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the box inserts. Now these are the bit, I've called it a box insert because I don't know what else to call it. It's probably got a technical name. But these are the bits that are going to go behind here. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to add the glue on here. Stick my stick that on there. And now what I'm going to do, and don't worry if it looks a mess at the moment, because it will all make sense in the end, is I'm going to add some glue here, because this should be, because that's 1 inch, I'm going to put that on there, up to that mark.
Yes.
No, not you, Mark. Up to that mark. So when we come to it, this, oh, it's not going to. No, hang on, hold on a minute. Don't do that. Don't glue it on yet. We'll glue that on last, because it's going to have to be slightly shorter on reflection. So yeah, okay. Well, we'll glue all those bits on. I know I'm not with it today at all. I'm just not.
Discombobulated.
I am. It's been a weird day. I went out, out into the
wilderness,
into the fresh air, and it's just completely. I don't know. There was like sunlight and stuff. Weird. Right. Might as well do it now we've started. Okay, and the sides.
Glue on the glue. Where's the mouse stick on?
I don't know, she was under my feet a minute. I don't know where she's gone, I dread to think. She's already got herself stuck in the cupboard under the stairs tonight, hasn't she?
Yeah,
Don't know what she's doing.
Oh, she's on the landing.
Oh, she's moved.
Watching them, looking down the stairs.
Okay. Right, okay. So these are all nice and tidy now. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to get your box bottom. And what we're going to do, you're going to love this. What we're going to do is we're going to put our pieces underneath so that we can attach our box bits here. So that will go on like that, okay? So what I'm going to do, you're going to love this, is I'm not going to start it in the middle, okay, because I want it to kind of go round the corner a bit. So if I start this here and I just make myself like a fold there, I'm going to cut just up on one side up to where the score line is, so that this is going to fit now like that, and it's going to make it a whole lot easier when we come to glue these bits in here. I hope that's making vague sort of sense. So now I just need to make sure that that one is going to be in the right place. So I'm going to fold there. Like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this bottom bit. That's the bit where I've cut, okay? Yes, if you made the sub box, it's very similar, I think, although I can't remember how I did that now. It's been a while. So now that just folds round like, like that. So we're making like a little box already. Okay. So that's going to be the bottom of our box. Now we might have to tidy it up a little bit later, but I'm going to worry about that in due course, not right now. So I'm going to grab another connector and I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to measure up to here and I'm going to fold that. Now I know that I'm going to have a gap, but that's okay because I've got lots of little pieces and I can just patch it. And at the end of the day, you've looked at my box, you've seen it, and I bet none of you have noticed that there's patching going on because you just don't see it. Okay, so now I'm going to add some glue down there. And I just need a little piece to go in here. So I've got these little odds and ends here. So I'm just going to cut it about an inch. I guess if you're using 12 by 12 paper, you're not going to have this problem, but you won't see it anyway, so I'm really not bothered. Not bothered. Okay, so there you go. So that's the bottom of my box. So now what I need to do is attach the sides and the front. So let's start with the front, because why not? So I'm just going to put some glue onto the inside of that paper like that. And I'm going to take my box front and I'm just going to slot it into there like that. Okay? So that's my box. Oh, well, yeah. Ignore the bit I've done wrong. That's only because I took the other bit off. Okay? So I've done it like that. Right, now I'm going to put on the back. So I'm going to do it exactly the same. I'm going to put some glue onto my... I'm trying to do this so you can see it. I'll just do it and then I'll show you. So I'm going to put some glue onto that bit of black card there. So you can see that's inside like that. And I'm going to grab my box back and I'm going to slip that in. So I've got in my front and back there. Okay? It's a lot easier than I'm making it look. Like I'm just making it look more difficult than it really is.
You're doing it left-handed, that's normal.
I'm doing it left-handed, yeah, that's probably what it is. So now I'm going to put in the sides. So I'm going to do it exactly the same way. So I'm going to put some glue. Oh. No, not these bits. And I'm going to slip this in now. So that goes in like that. You see?
Karen, I've just asked if I ever craft.
He's too busy looking after me. Yes, give me that. Right, do you guys know Tracy Evans? She designs for All and Create with abs, with Auto de Moi. Well, she is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. And Mark and I first met her at a class that she did not too far away from us, near Stoke actually. Wendy, just in case you're wondering. And I wanted Mark to come along and have a go, and this is what Mark made. How absolutely beautiful is that? So yes, Mark does craft. He really should do more. I want him to do, there you go, Johnny. I want him to do more boxes because he's going to be far better at this than I ever will be, because he's an engineer. Okay, so now I've put some glue on that last black bit at the bottom, and I'm going to slip in my last piece. And it's starting to get tight now, but that's what we want, because this box has got to be solid. Okay, so now that is the basis of the box, but we've got to get it to stick together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my connectors and I'm going to run them up the sides like this. Now I'm going to start not right at the bottom. I could start it here, but I found that what happened was stuff like this. No matter how well you glue, it tends to kind of slip off a little bit. So I'm going to start it just about 1/2 inch up, but I am going to take it right to the end. And then I'm just wondering if I can fold it so it goes over. I haven't tried it this way before, so this might not work. So don't do it this way if you haven't done it already, because what we've also got to do, as well as strengthen the outsides, we need to put black card on the insides as well. So I'm just going to try and see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue.
Everyone's husband's an engineer.
Oh, it must be a man thing.
Or a
Tut
cowboy.
tut. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure that this is straight, this lines up. Now, if you're going to ask me, these side pieces kind of slip inside the front and back, okay? So rather than go on the outside, they go on the inside. If you can see there, it matches to the... I'm just trying to show you. Probably looks better on this side. It matches to the inside there. So now if I just slip that on up to there, this box is going to spend a lot of time on its side because I find it's just easier to get things into place. When you're pressing down. Okay, so I'm going to just trim that off at the end. And then I'm folding it over. I don't know if you saw what I did there. I'm going to fold that over like that. And then glue that down. So I've cut it off a little bit. So that is just going to fold over like that. And now I'm getting glue on my hands, which, as you know, I hate with a vengeance. Okay, so we're going to do that on every one of these corners. So I folded it already because that was easier than folding it when it's on there. I'm going to pop some glue on. And I'm going to attach that to my box there. Fold that over. That's the box making that noise. It's not me, just in case you're wondering. Okay, so that now I've got the end of that box now attached. So now I've got to do the other end as well. So I'm just going to fold it. And put plenty of glue on, especially these bottom bits. Now I will warn you, if with the feet, I learnt the hard way, because I didn't ask my engineer husband, that PVA glue will not hold them on. So you're going to need to get yourself some super glue. No, oh come on, you tell me what we need. Or are you agreeing with me that PVA, epoxy? Can you find some and show people what we mean? Right, so let's get that in place. Oh, it's a bit too long. Oh, I don't know, Sally, that might work. A hot glue gun would work, Jill, in theory, but it just made mine really lumpy because I tried that too until the boss got involved. I've made a right pig's ear of this. Right. I'm sure you'll do this neater than me. I need to stop reading the comments and get on with what I'm meant to be doing. Right, last one. Okay, so while Mark's been doing that, I've finished the outside of the box. I haven't done it very well at all because I've been too busy seeing what everybody's writing without checking what I'm doing. So mine's a bit lumpy, but I'll just have to live with that. Now, this is all great, but it's still not solid enough in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these connectors on the inside of the box as well, okay? Which is a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word, a little bit fiddly. So let's just do. I'm going to do it in exactly the same way. So let's see if that fits. Okay, so you see I've just folded those to fit. You can see inside the box there. So what I'm going to do now is glue it. It might actually be tidier if we put the side bits in first. Yeah, could do. I'm going to put the side bits in first. Okay, so I've just tidied that up there. I mean, you won't see any of these because we're going to put another layer on yet anyway. But it just makes this box solid. Because you don't want something that's going to fall to bits in 2 days. Okay, so what I've done is I've just tidied up the inside of the box there. And I've got this bit now. So I'm going to glue and then stick that in there like that. Okay, so actually let's put that way around because then that'll look nice and tidy. And I'm just going to slip that in like that and just stick those down. Yeah, ignore that bit. I put that on the wrong side, but you won't make a mistake like I did anyway. Oh, what's Sue done? I don't like it. We say, Oh, Sue, that's not good. What's she done? What have I missed?
Sue hasn't done anything. It was...
Yes, I love glossy accents too, Nicole. It's brilliant for sticking. However, it didn't stick in this case. I don't know why. I think it might be the plastic of the feet. I must admit, when I bought them, I thought they were metal. I thought they were a bit too good value for money. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just, and I've run out of connectors. I need to cut some more. Where's my big trimmer? When you're making yours and you're looking at it and you're thinking this ain't pretty, don't worry about it. That's what pattern paper's for. So long as it is going to hold solid and it's going to pass the test of time, I don't think anybody's going to notice a thing. Now, once we've finished this box, this bottom bit of box, and we put the inserts in it, that's going to be it for tonight. Next week, we're going to do the lid and we'll look at some of the decoration. Obviously, if you're confident making boxes, you know, go ahead and carry on by all means, because it's only done in exactly the same way. But I'm going to do my lid next week. Your lid, if you're going to go ahead and do it, your lid will be tight. It is very tight. However, it does loosen in time. So don't worry if it's tight to start with. That's a good thing. Of course, you could just paint some of this, but I don't think it would be as strong. You could use black Tyvek, but that's not as cheap as using bits of card. Right, okay. So last one. Let's fold that. Now our next book in theory should be the Vagabond book. I've nearly finished the project, but if you follow the Scrap Lab, if you're in the Scrap Lab group, you'll have seen I made a video earlier today about some of the Brexit problems we're having. So the Vagabond papers have been stuck in transit since the first week of January. So as you can imagine, I can't guarantee at the moment when things are going to happen. So I'm going to get this book finished so you can see it. When the kits will go out is another matter. But if you want an absolute miracle, the House of Roses, for which I've got everything, is 95% finished. So hopefully I shall have that to show you by the weekend. So whether that's our next book, even though it's just a quick and easy book, or whether the Vagabond is going to be our next book, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm as excited to find out as you are. Right. Okay. It's pink. It's very, very pink. Right, okay, so that is my box, and it is as solid as they come because we've strengthened it inside and out, and we've done all of our corners, so we don't need to worry about what papers we're putting on top. So that's great. But now we need to make sure that we can put our lid on. So what we need to do is grab our inserts. And what I'm going to do is, right, that one fits in quite nicely after all that and me taking it off. That one must be marginally longer because it doesn't. I'm just going to cut that down a little bit. Okay, the side ones need to cut down a little bit.
Will the House of Roses be a Wednesday night thing?
It will, I think. Wednesday or Thursday. Now that's a book in a box, but the boxes are pre-bought. Just to make life a bit easier. No, still need a bit more off.
Yeah, this is the thinner card, isn't it, the insert?
Yeah, this is the thinner card. Okay, right. So now I'm going to use my connectors.
Nicole says she didn't know you did the classes on a Thursday.
I don't usually. We might end up doing two at the same time because Brexit's caused us a few problems, to put it mildly. And we're kind of behind. Right, with this one, I'm slipping the, when it's folded, this will make sense in a minute. When it's folded, it's folded so that the smaller side is essentially going to sit inside the longer side. So that's going to fit there. But as you can see, that when they go together, it fits like that as opposed to like that. That makes sense. So that one is going to fit nicely inside the two longer ones. Let's trim that down.
Are the boxes graphic 45 or MDF?
No, they are I haven't finished it, so I can't show you. Well, I can show you, but they're like this. This is the box. So it's already made. I haven't finished the inside yet. It's already made. It's a cardboard sort of box. It's not very thick. It's just right size for the book. I'm just trying to keep the covers flat, which, as you can imagine, for me is a flipping nightmare. Because I figured if you wanted to put it on a shelf, it would be better off flat. But you like, if you like, you know, like shabby chic, like, you know, pinks and House of Roses, it's got lace, it's got ribbon, it's got everything. Okay, nearly there. So I'm just attaching this all together now. I'm absolutely covered in glue, which you know I hate with an absolute vengeance. I hate being gluey. Okay, last one to go on now.
I'll ask, will you be able to buy the boxes separately? Or she already has
I don't know. Possibly. I might have the odd couple. But I've used 8x8 paper. I mean, that is one sheet of 12x12 for the outside, but I have used 8x8 for the book. But I might well have a couple of spare boxes. Right. Okay, so guess what we're going to do next? Now we're going to put exactly the same on the inside to strengthen it. There's loads of glue coming out of this bottle. Okay. Just trim that off. Ideally, I'd like to give this a bit of time to dry before we go on to the next bit. But now the next bit is to fit this inside the box like that. And it will be tight, it needs to be. But what we're going to do is we're going to glue it, put some glue on these bits so that they attach to the walls of the box like that. Okay, so I'm going to put glue up to where the top of that connector is, like that. All the way around. I'm going to attach this to my box. So I'm going to slip this in. Ugh, going to get gluey. And I'm going to make sure that that's inside there. And I'm going to have to keep going round now for the next few minutes pressing it down until that glue's really taken, to make sure that it's stuck really well and that I haven't got any sort of bits that bow out. Well, that's not even straight. Don't do as I say, don't do as I do. Right, let's get it straight. Yeah, that's better. Okay, you can clean off these bits of glue. But you get the idea. So now I've got this bit of board which is set inside my box. So you're going to have to keep just pressing it down for a bit. And then what you can do when that's all dry and you're happy with it is literally take some of your black card and then cover the inside of your box. So I use black card. It's entirely up to you whether you use black card or if you've got enough pattern paper left. I'm not sure whether you will have or not. But that is basically the bottom of our box. It's now really solid. And it's ready to be finished off inside and outside. Okay. Right, there we go. Does that make sense up until this point? We good? It's not the easiest way to make a box, Nicole, but it does the trick. Okay, this will look a lot tidier when I've decorated it. Right. Okay, brilliant. If you're stuck, you know where I am. Don't forget to tidy up these edges because I've made a right pig's ear of mine, but you get the idea anyway. Yes, absolutely, I'll decorate the inside as well. So what I'll do is I'll just cut, I've just used black on this one. So I've just cut pieces of black card and then just slipped them in and glued them over the top. But this is now solid as a rock. It's not going anywhere. So what we'll do next week is we will work on our lid. I'll decorate this up. I might use something completely different actually in terms of papers. And then next week we can make the lid and finish it off. I hope yours looks a bit tidier than mine does. If I hadn't been stupid in the first place, it would have been a lot better. Cool. Right, okay guys, I will see you Friday for Valentine's book in Crafting Together. And then next Wednesday back here. Brilliant. I might be in touch sometime over the weekend if I get any of these other projects finished, because I still have got about 6 on the go at the moment, which I need to get done. And kits are starting to go out probably tomorrow with the rainbow books. So yes, it's all happening. All right, take care everybody, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.